Good afternoon and welcome to the planning meeting here today on the 12th of September. My name is Councillor Gary Marsh. I'm the chairman of the planning committee. To my left is my vice chairman, Councillor Kennedy. To my right is Steve Ashdown, head of development control. To his right is our legal officer. And Debbie is one of our senior planning officers. And in the corners are democratic services who keep us in check. And the members are in front of us for today. So I'm going to go through the items. Item 1 is to note substitutes. I have none. Item 2 is to receive apologies for absence. I have Councillor DeBell. Item 3, does any member have any on the agenda? No. And item 4 is agreed by general affirmation of the public and exempt minutes of our meeting held on the 11th of July. Is that okay? Agreed. Great. I'll sign them later. Item 5 is to consider any items that I agree to take as urgent business. I have none. So we're here now for item 6, which is the reasons why we're here, is DM 240832 Haywards Heath Rugby Football Club Clubhouse at Whiteman's Green, Cookfield. Steve, it's yours.
Thank you, Chairman. So the application site sits to the southern side of Cookfield Road. This is a Whiteman's Green recreation area, and the site is located, outlined in red here. The site lies within the High Weald AONB, and also it's also within the setting of the Cookfield Conservation Area. So the application is for a single-storey extension to the southern side of the existing clubhouse building. So the clubhouse building is located here, which is newly constructed. Single-storey extension located here. And then there's permission also sought for 2 full-size paddle courts and a 3rd single paddle court, both onto the southern side of the extension. So this is the existing elevation of the pavilion that has been built on site. As you can see, single-storey extension located here. It will have a roof terrace on top, which is linked into the existing balcony on the western side of the pavilion here, and then the paddle courts located further to the south. Again, just in terms of the existing floor area, and as you can see, this will be for a proposed gym here, separate entrance located to the front here, and then on the first floor there will be an entrance out onto the terrace, and it will also link in with these stairs here. So in terms of the issues, then the full report is in front of you. As set out, in terms of the principle of development, the site is located within an established recreation ground with existing sports clubhouse, and what is proposed is to seek improvements to those existing facilities. It's considered that the proposal in this respect would deliver positive social economic benefits through the delivery of these enhanced leisure and community facilities. As noted, it is within the High Weald AONB, or National Landscapes as it's called now. But again, as this is a well-established recreation area with existing sports facilities, and given the overall scale of the proposals, it's considered that the proposal would conserve the character of the AONB. And in addition, again, given the scale and certainly the distance to the conservation area to the east, it's accepted that the proposal would preserve the setting of the conservation area. There's no objection to the local highway authority on highway matters. In terms of residential amenity, as set out in the report, it's considered that there would not be any significant impact to any nearby residents, and you will note that there is a condition seeking to control the hours of use of the paddle courts. The site can be adequately drained and a condition can secure that. It is noted that the proposal would result in the loss of 3 trees, which are located here. But as you will note, the site is subject to mandatory B&G, so there will be 10% B&G secured. And again, as set out in the report, part of that will be on site and part of that will be off site. And just on B&G, you will see the update sheet that's in front of you. And within that, we've just set out what is the statutory or condition which is applied to all planning permissions where B&G is required. So you won't see this in your committee reports because it's something that's hardwired into our decision notices, and we can't include it as a condition, but it's a condition that's set out on the decision notice. So I just want you to be aware of that and become familiar with that. So on that basis, Chairman, the application is recommended for approval.
The reason it's here, because we actually own the site. I've got 2 speakers. I'd like to call Phil Herbert, who you've been here before. If you'd like to come to the public speaker bit, or you can, no, you'll have to go there, unfortunately. If you can come to this here, because as soon as you speak, you'll be on our YouTube channel. Yeah. You just press the right-hand button, the red light should come on. That's it. Your 2 minutes will start from the moment you start talking.
The Rugby Club is a thriving community and grassroots sports organisation with one of the largest minis and junior sections in the whole of Sussex. We came before you last year to seek permission for a new multi-sport pavilion, which is nearing completion, is on time and it's on budget. It's an amazing building. Now, we totally understand that rugby might not be for everyone, which is why we want this fabulous new clubhouse to become Whiteman's Green Sports Club, the home of HHRFC, delivering a base for a multitude of different sports and community groups. The planning application before you today delivers more sporting options for the community, whilst at the same time creating a welcoming and safe environment for people to come together and remain active. A gym with a range of classes for all ages and abilities and fitness opportunities available for community use throughout the day will boost activity rates and therefore health and well-being within Mid-Sussex. The 2.5 paddle courts will provide access for all to an exciting sport which is currently the fastest growing in the UK. Mid-Sussex District Council's own paddle court at the Triangle is so busy the public simply cannot get on it and it's full to capacity. The two proposed courts will allow doubles games with a single court being used for one-on-one coaching or to introduce children to the game. We have, subject to planning permission, formed a partnership with a reputable company called Smash Paddle, who will not only fund the construction of the courts, but deliver daily mentoring, coaching and support to members of the community wishing to try paddle, whilst also running a programme in tandem with local schools to get children active and playing sport. The proposal has received huge local community support from over 350 people wanting to use these new sporting facilities alongside the benefits of a state-of-the-art clubhouse. Situated in the middle of an 11-hectare designated multi-sport playing field, this is the best available site in the local area for a facility like this to be located. Investment in sporting opportunities for the existing community and future generations is something that we as a club feel passionate about, which is why we've gone to such lengths to independently raise the funds needed to make this happen, and we would urge you to support this vision by granting permission on the application today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Herbert. Now, I'm going to call the local ward councillor, Councillor Avery. As you all know, councillors, when they speak as ward councillors, are not subject to the 2-minute rule, but I don't think our councillor's going to speak for much longer than that anyway. So over to yourself. The right-hand one. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the local ward councillor for Cuckfield, Anstine, Bolney, I'd just like to add my support for the proposals for the addition of paddle tennis courts, gymnasium and extended roof terrace to the existing clubhouse facilities. The whole development at Haywards Heath Rugby Club is a wonderful example of collaborative working, both with the District Council, the various parishes, Anstine, Cuckfield, government, sporting agencies and private funding to make this scheme happen. It's a tribute to the hard work of the Rugby Club Committee and supporters, Phil and Tracy in particular, who have worked so hard to make this happen. As a former football coach myself, the round ball type, sorry Phil, I have spent countless hours at Whiteman's Green doing coaching sessions and managing games. To see Whiteman's Green in full flow on a Saturday morning is indeed a wonderful and uplifting sight, with hundreds of girls and boys of all ages and their parents involved in sporting activity. The afternoons are normally when the grown-ups take over with matches of the senior teams of the rugby club, Cuckfield Rangers and others. As anyone involved in running any sporting club will tell you, cash flow is the lifeblood of the club, and relying on the core activities on a weekend is barely enough to make ends meet. The name of the game is to extend the usage of the facilities to sweat the resource and add vital income on a daily basis. Paddle tennis is a latter-day phenomenon, playable by all ages, of all abilities, allowing people to have fun and get fit all at the same time. It has taken the activity world by storm and will as good as guarantee a consistent source of income to the club. The addition of a gym facility will allow daily sessions of keep fit, Pilates and other activities, and again provide a consistent income stream. The facilities are flexible, can also be used for non-sporting activities such as social clubs and a venue for meetings, charity lunches, etc., etc. All of this will help to cement Whiteman's Green's place as a priceless community asset. For these reasons, I hope the members are minded to support the proposal for the extension of the Haywards Heath Rugby Club clubhouse. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, does anybody wish to speak on this? Councillor Henwood.
I'm very much in favour of recreation and sporting, but I do have a question, Chairman. Under 12.51, I cannot quite understand how, given that 3 Category C trees will be eliminated and given that grass will be dug up to put in the paddle courts, how it says there will be a proposal which will result in 5.7 increase in biodiversity. I can't understand how that can come about, Chairman.
Said off-site. It'll be off-site. Do you want to answer that one?
No, sorry. It doesn't, sorry. I beg your pardon, Chairman.
So in terms of what's shown on all of the drawings, in terms of the submitted application, then there would be a 5.7% increase. But in order to achieve the 10%, they have to provide 4.3% off-site, and that is secured through the mandatory condition.
So, Chairman, that's my question. 3 trees are going to go. You're going to lose grass. How can you increase biodiversity when you're damaging already some existing biodiversity? That's my question.
Can't answer that one, but I know a person who can. Do you want to switch off the speaker, your microphone? I think it's to do with the car park, isn't it?
Yeah, so obviously this area here is currently grassed, and the trees. So we need to remember in terms of the 10%, in terms of the grass, the value of each grass or grassland will have different values. So what we're talking about here is in probably terms of what the biodiversity on site at this minute in time is probably extremely low. Other than the 3 trees, I think probably what you'll find is the 3 trees that are to be removed, they count in respect of the calculation of biodiversity gain. So it's probably the 3 trees in the main that result in the 10% required to be gained. There is this area in here which is being retained in terms of, I'm just looking at the existing habitat plan. Obviously, they have within their site, and again, it's within the mandatory condition, they will need to set out how they're going to achieve that 10%. So they're saying they can achieve 5.7% on site, and that plan will show that. And then as part of that, they'll have to show where that other 4.3% is going to be achieved, which will be off-site somewhere else.
Well, I'm sorry, I find this terribly confusing. I can understand how off-site 10%, but I'm still perplexed, and I will stay perplexed until there's a more satisfactory answer. Thank you, Chairman.
I think we're all learning this one. It's very difficult to because it's relatively new. We had the problem in Horsted Keynes, though people remember that, and I probably killed that name by saying that. Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Just following on with that, I think we're having difficulties learning about biodiversity net gain, but the public even more so. I had a similar question to Councillor Henwood, and that is, these 3 trees, okay, I can see they've had to go. They're category C, so they're probably youngish trees. But would I be right in thinking that the biodiversity net gain on site will replace those trees somewhere on site? That's what I'd like to think about, and I think that's probably what the public would like to see. I recognise that it's a sporting site, and there are trees already, and it is mentioned in the officer's report that there's a whole row of trees on the entrance. Well, yes. I guess that's what the public will be interested in. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're in the COVID conditions. I think not long afterwards we had our training session on it, didn't we? And I think it may be worth having another training session, to be perfectly honest.
I think what needs to be understood there is in terms of the amount of information that needs to be submitted as part of the application in terms of BNG is extremely limited. It basically, the national requirements are of a matrix which shows the value of the existing site, and then it will provide a calculation of what's required. The applicant doesn't have to indicate whether it's provided on or off site as part of the application, because that's all secured through the mandatory condition, which comes later in terms of the submission of those details, how that 10% is going to be achieved. So I know we set out here, it's 5.7 compared to 5.3 off, but ultimately those details come later through the biodiversity game plan, which is submitted prior to the commencement of development. So in the future, going forward, the amount of information that you'll have before you is extremely limited, because that's all the applicants are required to submit, and it all basically all comes later.
Yeah, if you remember the application we had in East Grinstead, when there was not even a single leaf of green on it, and they put a couple of bushes on the top, and they had 100% net gain, which is it is what it is, and it's. But I do think we should have more training on this one, and I think as a group leader, I will push that to have that done. So, Councillor Kenny.
Yeah, just a quick observation on what you said there, Steve. I'm not sure that it's really viable for us to go forward where planning applications come to us and we're told that the way that biodiversity net gain will be dealt with later on, no indication. Surely at least officers should ask in advance what the viability of that is, because of course, as we will know, once things are built, it's very difficult to get around them. So I really think there ought to be within the planning process a requirement on people to say in advance of items coming to our committee how they're going to achieve it. And that's how I feel about it.
Does it not? Yeah, do you want to answer that one?
I don't disagree at all, and certainly we do ask the question. The applicant is under no obligation. The national requirements do not require them to submit a biodiversity net gain plan that we can approve as part of the planning application. They can submit a draft one, but we can't approve it as part of the planning application, because the mandatory condition requires them to submit it after the planning permission has been issued. So we do ask the question, and obviously we do try and establish as early as we can, because it does have implications potentially on Section 106s in terms of whether we need to secure a monitoring fee or not. But you have to be aware of the constraints that we are working within in terms of what we can actually require the applicant to submit in relation to the national requirements.
Sounds like a bit like the cart's pulling the horse along, doesn't it, really? You're gone.
Brief follow-up. I mean, we're well used to the fact that, for example, when it comes to trees, developers saying that they will preserve trees, and then later on, when work begins, there's damage to said trees, and it implies that they never had a real intention to follow it. But it's too late at that point to have a meaningful sanction. So let's just not put ourselves in a position where we don't have sanctions which are not viable for biodiversity.
I think a training session on this would be very much needed. Councillor Hitchcock, do you still wish to?
Yes, please. I agree with Councillor Kenny that this is very, very grey.
Very
To the
great.
point of being completely opaque. It would be helpful, I think, if in these recommendations, there was just a one-liner that says that the mandatory requirement 4 will be met prior to any development commencing.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to?
So, yeah, thank you for letting me come back. So in terms of the condition and the biodiversity game plan, that has to be submitted and approved prior to commencement of work.
Yeah.
So it's a pre-commencement condition in terms of that. But again, that will set out how it's actually then delivered. And obviously that will set out the timetable for its delivery, and then allow us to monitor it from the day it's completed.
Yeah. Can I come back on that?
Yeah, of course you can.
The issue for me is that it's not only us that are confused, the general public are confused, and they read these documents. And we mention biodiversity in the document as a one-liner somewhere. We don't say what we're going to do about it. So I think it would be very appropriate for you to actually mention it as a one-liner just before Appendix A arrives.
Yeah, I think it's what it is that once we've got the planning permission granted,
Yeah.
before they discharge their conditions, it's that point that
Yeah,
they do it, which seems, like we said, the cart pulling the horse.
yes, it does.
So, I think as well, probably what you'll see in other reports, in terms of other ones we're preparing at this minute in time, is we're actually setting out this condition within the B&G paragraphs, and members are exactly aware of what the wording of that condition is, because we realised after this one had been published that actually, while it appears in our decision notice, it's not actually in your reports, hence why it's in the update sheet. But it's certainly our intention to make sure it's in the main body of the report, so you're aware of what that wording is and how it will be secured.
Can I just
Yes,
say
yeah, of course
that
you can.
apart from the biodiversity item, I fully support this application.
Yeah. Thank you. So, proposer, I take it you're going to propose it?
Yes, I will propose it.
And seconder? Councillor Speckman? You got that before you. Right. Well, normally, can we put up the voting bit, please? And then it's green if you agree with it, red if you don't, and yellow if you abstain then. I think we're it. We are all here. That's unanimous. But I will take on board what you said, and in our meetings, I will press for some training on this, because I really do think we need to. Thank you. I take it you'll just diverse in a very few seconds. That red stripe is to do with your colours of your club. Thought it was. Because I was thinking, what the hell's that red line doing there?
Playing red and black.
Red and black, yes. But anyway, I'd like to see it, because I do think this would be a worthy addition to the district. All right, we've done the changeover. Right, our next application is, in all my papers I've got here, DM 232525, it's the Shell Burgess Hill Service Station on the London Road in Burgess Hill. Debbie, this is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, as you've just said, it concerns the Shell service station, 173 London Road in Burgess Hill. The proposal essentially consists of a single-storey side extension to the forecourt shop to provide a hot food takeaway, together with the relocation of the jet wash facility to the southern side of the forecourt, plus associated alterations to the shop front, forecourt and parking area. So here we can see the site outlined in red. The service station is located on the western side of London Road within the built-up area of Burgess Hill. The hatch blue areas denote the conservation areas. So as you can see, the service station is surrounded by the Fairfield Conservation Area, which wraps around to the north and west and south of the site. Opposite, we've got St John's Park here, which falls within St John's Conservation Area. So any application has a duty to protect the settings of the conservation area. In terms of the surrounding area, we've got Gloucester Road that wraps around the site to the south. We've got Burgess Hill Methodist Church located here. Residential properties on Gloucester Road at the Cornerstone and Brambletie located immediately to the west of the site. To the north of the site, we've got Buon Appetito, an Italian restaurant within a parade of commercial properties with flats above. On the eastern side of London Road, it's the former Dinnages garage site, which is now occupied by Heath Vets and another commercial premises. And then we've got flats at Parkside located to the east-south-east. So here we can see the existing site plan. So we've got London Road here, which runs along to the east, and Gloucester Road to the south. So the actual existing garage shop building is located at the northern end of the site, with the jet wash currently located to the western side of the premises. We've got the petrol pumps located to the south in the general forecourt area, with 3 customer parking spaces located to the south here, and a disabled parking space located up here to the side of the building. The building's previously been extended with a single-storey extension to the rear and also an ATM extension to the side. There's an existing bay area within the forecourt where there's an air, water and vacuum facility. So here we can see the proposed site plan that the existing jet wash facility will be replaced with a single-storey extension to the side of the property, to the side of the garage building, providing a takeaway use to be used ancillary in relation to the existing shop and garage. The jet wash facility will be relocated further to the south, with an additional 2 parking spaces proposed. There's a disabled parking space that will remain to the side of the building. There's additional tree screening and hedging proposed along the southern side of the boundary with Gloucester Road. So here just to show the existing and proposed floor plans for the existing building. So here we can see the proposed extension, which will extend between 4.85 and 5.88 metres to the side of the building and measure approximately, will actually measure 13.52 metres deep. This will provide a hot food kitchen takeaway with a servery and a small seating area that can accommodate up to 8 customers. So here we've got the existing elevation showing the building. So this south elevation shows the existing frontage of the garage building. There's currently a freestanding fascia structure located to the front. This shows the view from London Road, the east elevation. So here we've got the existing ATM extension and the single-storey extension that's previously been added to the rear of the building. So the proposed elevations here show that the extension will be sited on the western side of the building. It will have a parapet wall that measures 4.29 metres high, with large glazed windows to the front. The existing entrance door to the garage building is proposed to be replaced and located with a sliding door to the west. The existing freestanding fascia is proposed to be removed. We can see that this is the view from the western side of the premises. So this is the extension here that will be added, and the views from the adjoining residential properties. A small vent pipe is proposed to the rear, but the planning agent has advised that the kitchen extraction system will all be contained within the roof void and screened by the parapet walls of the extension and building. So here we've just got plans showing the jet wash. You're going to have a raised concrete slab with a central silt trap, and this will be surrounded by a galvanised steel frame with glazed panels, and this will measure 2.3 metres high. So here, just to show the existing photographs showing the garage and shop building. Here below, we've got the general forecourt area to the south. The jet wash facility will be located approximately in this location here. You can see the large London plane tree that's located in the front garden of the adjoining property at the cornerstone. This is the view here from Gloucester Road to the south. The proposed extension will actually be sited close to the northern side of the site, so set well back within the site, so that it has limited visibility and views from Gloucester Road and London Road. Here we can see the jet wash facility in its current location, so the extension will be sited here. It should be relatively well screened in views from the neighbouring property by the existing retaining wall, high fence and vegetation. So if I can go back to the proposed site plan, the main issues are all set out in the delegated report for you. We have received numerous concerns from local residents with regards to highways impact and whether the additional parking provision is sufficient. Concerns have been raised that the proposal will lead to an increase in customers visiting the site, which may lead to congestion, illegal parking on surrounding roads and have a detrimental impact upon highway safety. The Local Highways Authority at West Sussex County Council have reviewed the proposal, including delivery details provided by the applicant, and has raised no objections to the proposal on highways grounds. They're satisfied that there is sufficient parking and that there should not be a significant increase in customers visiting the site, considering that the proposal is a modest extension to the existing garage building. The relocated jet wash is not considered to interfere with the operating of the existing garage forecourt. As such, they do not consider that there are sufficient highways grounds to recommend refusal of the application. Double yellow lines are located along London Road and on Gloucester Road, which should prohibit any illegal parking. In terms of the principle of development, it's supported by District Plan Policy DP1, which supports the expansion of existing businesses. The proposal will increase the number of staff employed on site from 3 full-time staff and 4 part-time staff to 8 full-time staff and 6 part-time staff. The extension will be sited close upon the neighbouring boundary with the cornerstone and Bramble-tie. As per the previous photos, it's considered that the extension should be relatively well screened from neighbouring properties. A noise impact assessment has been provided with the application with regards to the relocated jet wash facility and the extraction system proposed for the kitchen. The Council's Environmental Protection Officer is satisfied that the proposal should not result in undue smells or noise within the locality. They have recommended that a condition is imposed that the takeaway and jet wash facility are not used after 11 p.m. Considering the existing use of the site and the garage, which is open for 24 hours a day, it's not considered that the proposal would cause significant harm to neighbouring amenities in terms of generating additional noise and disturbance or smells. Given the extension's location, it should be relatively well screened within the locality. It's reflective of existing extensions that have been added to the building, and therefore it's not considered that the proposal should have a detrimental impact upon the appearance and character of the area. The setting of the conservation area should be protected. The proposal is also deemed acceptable in terms of sustainability, flood risk, contaminated land, and should not have a likely significant effect on the Ashdown Forest Special Protection Area and Special Area of Conservation. As such, it is recommended that planning permission be granted in accordance with conditions outlined at Appendix A. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. We did have a speaker, but she's waived her right to speak because we've got nobody speaking against it, so I open it to yourselves. Does anybody wish to kick off? My Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. I must admit, reading through the papers and looking at the plans, I was really concerned about this application, particularly on traffic and parking grounds, because having a facility of this sort in that particular location would, I think, attract a lot of additional traffic and people looking to park to use the facility. The second point that concerned me was the impact on residents nearby, particularly in terms of noise, but also in terms of the smells that might emulate from the kitchen. However, having heard from Highways, who I think have not only reported on this for our planning officer, but have also visited the site again recently, they have again concluded that there are no significant impacts, or there will be no significant impacts on traffic or parking, and that the facilities for parking particularly will be adequate. And similarly, the Environmental Protection Officer has reported that the noise and the odours will be adequately dealt with, or the impact will not be severe. So I think we seem to be faced with a situation where there are no planning grounds for refusal. So whilst I'm reluctant, it seems that we may not be able to properly reject the application.
Anybody else? Councillor Henwood.
Yeah, I'm quite concerned about the traffic. I don't really believe this complies with DP 21, which absolutely says the scheme avoids severe additional traffic congestion. I don't believe that I believe this will cause severe additional traffic congestion. So I think that does not agree with DP 21. I'm quite concerned about the police. They actually verify what will happen with this additional. They're suggesting there will be congestion, illegal parking. They're concerned about Crime and Disorder Act, which actually states that the local authority should take on board the possibility of increasing crime. Not that there's a big crime there, but I still don't feel that this report takes on strongly the comments by the police. I'm also very concerned about this noise abatement. It seems to have only been addressed to the new equipment, which will be necessary. It doesn't address to the additional cars, the additional traffic. And yet again, the car parking should be an issue because we're going to have 8 seating arrangements, 8 customer seats. You're going to have more customers. You're going to have an increase in staff, which will have to park somewhere. And you're having an increase from 3 to 5, which I think is insufficient for car parking. Additionally, this is a major artery, a north-south artery through Burgess Hill. It is heavily used. It's the only artery east of the railway that connects north and south in Burgess Hill. So I think that should be taken on to consideration. That's enough for the now, if they can be addressed.
Did you want to declare an interest, being that you are the chairman of the planning committee?
No, I am not the chairman of the
You're
planning
not?
committee.
Right, fair enough
Thank you very
then.
much.
Okay, you did mention Sussex Police, but I'm looking at page 44 here, and it says no objection from a crime prevention
No,
perspective.
I would address your comments to, on page 73, the very last of the consultations. It's quite comprehensive, the Sussex Police. Their initial comments, which some have not really been addressed.
Can I ask the officer what came first? The addition, these comments or the fact on page 44, where it says they don't have a objection from a crime prevention perspective?
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. The Sussex Police, in their initial comments, which are set out, let me just see, because we've
Page
received
73.
two lots of comments. So I set out on page 74 of their initial comments. They did raise concerns with regards to the parking provision, potential for illegal parking, and as local residents have also done. So they have certainly queried the parking specifically with regards to how deliveries would impact and have an impact upon that as well. And also the actual servery collection area, and whether that is sufficient to accommodate large amounts of people, impacting seated people's amenity, and perhaps increased opportunist theft within the area. So there were those initial comments. The planning agent for the application submitted further details on behalf of the applicant with regards to deliveries which are set out within the report, and also with regards to the installation of further CCTV. We do consider that the comments that the Sussex Police initially made have been covered with the additional information that's been provided. Certainly the Highways Authority have reviewed that information with regards to deliveries and the parking, and still have raised no objection on Highways grounds. It's important to note as well that Sussex Police have put in their initial comments they'd have no objection to the proposal from a crime prevention perspective, subject to their observation concerns being given due consideration, which we consider with the additional information that's been provided by the applicant have been addressed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, my vice chairman eloquently said he wasn't very happy with it, but the two main planning reasons are not planning reasons. The Highways said that there is nothing, and we can't go against the Highways. And the fact that they came down and spoke to Councillor Egerton and another, and reassured him.
Yes, we've received an email from the head highways officer at West Sussex County Council. I believe he met with Councillor Condie and Councillor Egerton on site to discuss further and look at their concerns. So they have given sort of full regard to everything and
This
the concerns
wasn't just a
that have been
desktop
raised.
exercise, they actually came
No,
and
they
visited
did meet
the
with them
site.
on site.
An environmental protection team, they don't have any issues, and obviously if there's any issues, it will not planning, it will be environmental protection team.
Yeah, certainly with regards to noise and odours, should there be any further issues, which hopefully there shouldn't be, they're satisfied, they've raised no objection. And certainly we would condition that further details are required to be provided with regards to odour control.
Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. To my mind, this is like getting a quart into a pint pot. When I go to fill up my, still got a petrol car. I've got to fill it up about every month probably, but most people at the most every 2 weeks or something like that. And so the traffic that's generated by the filling station and the associated shop is I would suggest is small, because you probably wouldn't go to shop there unless you. Well, some people will park in the parking bays. There's 3 at the moment, but I think there'll be a tremendous increase in activity, and car-driven traffic as a result of this add-on, this takeaway food business. And so that's the starting point. Then we've got the actual the layout of the premises, where the north is on the east side of this drawing. I went to visit it, so I'm familiar with it. So if you're going to collect food for takeaway, you're going to have to park on the south there, and you're going to have to walk across the filling station with the filling pumps, and with traffic pulling up to service and fill their cars up. Okay, so I don't regard that as being particularly safe, particularly with children. You know, with a much as I hate them, with these drive-up places where you go to a window, you're not needing to get out of the car at all. So what I'm about to say is I think there's a safety issue here with this layout, and I'd ask about NPPF paragraph 114, which in assessing sites that may be allocated for development in plans or specific applications for development, it should ensure that, and B, that safe and suitable access to the site can be achieved by all users. So I ask if that is being achieved. I think that's that. Yeah, I think I've made that clear enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but highways have not said it's an issue. I mean, don't forget that they will have to look at all elements of the application, not just actually that. I can see where you're coming from. I can honestly see where you're coming from. Older stations tend to have the car parking away from the buildings, where the newer stations tend to have it nearer the building itself. So I'm thinking of the new SO1 in Copthorne. That's the nearer, aren't they? There, where the older ones like this one tend to be further away. It is what it is. The layout is there. They're not going to knock it down and start again, because that would cause mayhem. Do you wish to come back?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to do with highways, because I'm talking about what's happening on the site with respect. You know, that's the point I made.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know where you want to say, but cancel.
You know, I think obviously there's a couple of strands here. One, in terms of, we're talking about a physical extension to a building. The physical extension to the building is tucked away on the far side. And layout terms, there is no issue in terms of the location of the extension. It's a takeaway use, yes. It's already an existing functioning petrol station and shop. The extent of use, unknown, uncontrolled. I think, Debbie, am I correct? It's open 24 hours. So there is no limit in terms of the number of vehicles that can and can't visit. You know, I understand the point, but the fact that, you know, highways have not raised a pedestrian or vehicle safety issue. You know, they're looking at highway matters in terms of obviously congestion on the highway, but they're also looking at pedestrian and vehicle safety as well. They haven't raised it. You know, it will be up for the actual owners of the petrol station to manage that efficiently. You know, they will have experience in terms of managing flows through their site. And, you know, this is just an ancillary part of the petrol station. The petrol station is the primary use of the site. And they want to ensure that that is managed safely. And I think that is a management issue rather than a planning issue in terms of layout.
I think also you've got to take into consideration there's 3 parking spaces there now. And people who park there walk through past the pumps to get to the shop. So they're actually increasing it by 1. You can argue it means induce more people to go there, and it probably will be. But it's an operation already, and if there was people are getting knocked over or near misses, I think they probably wouldn't have gone ahead and done what they've done. I saw your name briefly flash up, Councillor Kenny.
Yes, a very quick personal observation. So the emotive issue about parking in that area is on the residential streets behind the garage. It's a nightmare. You cannot get anywhere to park of an evening. With some personal experience of that, of attending a term's worth of an evening class, and you had to go and park on the main road, and you could park on the main road. All along the main road, there are businesses whose customers are able to park during the day, and of an evening, there was never any problem for me finding a place to park, on the main road. So I'm not commenting on the safety issues. So I see the difficulties, and I see why it's a motive in the area and why local councillors might, but that's a slightly different issue. The thing they're really worrying about is that residential parking, which is a terrible situation for homeowners on those streets.
And also the road that leads alongside St John's parking, they've got all those parking areas along there as well. It always has been. Anything you do is congested down there. Councillor Hitchcock, your name did flash up briefly.
I went and had a look at this site this morning at 10 o'clock. The traffic was fairly busy. It was flowing. The petrol station was busy. And there didn't appear to be any hold-ups in the process there. The site is tight, in my view. It's a bit of a shoehorn job, but I think it's doable. So my view is that we need to approve this.
Yeah. All right. Councillor Bashir, yours flashed up as well. Can you press that? Thank you. Right hand one. Yeah.
I was wondering if I know I understand this is open.
That's the one.
Open 24 hours. Is that going to continue once the place is extension to
The petrol
city?
element will be, but not the additional bit. Whoever takes on the fast food outlet, the petrol will be. So you still work. You can still go there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have used this on many occasions because the drive and test centre is not that far away from there, and I've filled up there many a time. You've already spoken, Councillor, but I'll let you come back in a minute. But Councillor Casella.
Right, personally, I believe petrol stations should just sell petrol. Nothing annoys me more than when I go and buy petrol and have to stand behind umpteen people with baskets of God knows what, buying coffees, buying this, buying that. But on strict planning grounds, as already been said, I can see no reason why we should refuse it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right there. Councillor Henwood, finally wrap it up unless somebody else wishes to speak.
Just comment on the hours of opening. As I say, the noise abatement was only done on the equipment. We don't know about the traffic. It's from 7 to 2,300 hours. Would it be possible to reduce it to 22 hours instead of 23?
That's what they've requested.
So we can't
And
put
if
in.
our environmental. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, our Environmental Protection Office reviewed all the information. They're satisfied. They were saying that daylight hours are classed as, with the conditions they've suggested, 700 hours to 2,300 hours. Because I did query that with regards to the jet wash, and they said that actually they recommended 2,300 hours, so 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Councillor Sain.
Yes, thank you. Well, I mean, most of our colleagues have mentioned so many reasons, particularly about traffic as well as safety as well. And Councillor Henwood also said that. I think I use this petrol pump quite a lot, even at night, late night as well. There are a lot of nuisance issues and noise use as well, and also, I mean, recently there was also damage opposite the petrol pump in the car park.
That's not out, it is outside the plan, and there's no
Yes, I know,
correlation,
but
there's
what
no
I'm going to say,
correlation.
what I was going to say is that there will be more people using this, there will be more nuisance as well, and also about the children issue. I mean, daytime after school break, children will come and buy fast food as well. But also inside, it's not only just purely takeaway. There is also sitting facilities as well, about 8 or so sitting facilities as well. So it will be people sitting there having food, and I think it's particularly it will be a very late night nuisance issue, noise issue, and particularly for the resident as well. And parking outside the petrol pump in the street, most of the time they are occupied. Even at late night, residents also park there as well. So traffic is also it's a big issue. I mean, if you consider about the roundabout in McDonald's there, I mean, there is also quite a huge problem there during the busy time. So it will have the same impact here as well. So I think it is, for restaurant and takeaway, it's in this space, even if it's for noise, they will increase, I mean, the screens and there and so on. But I think it will be quite a big problem for the residents as well. And it will be a lot of, noise and nuisance there.
I think it's a lot of what you've said and a lot of what I've heard is supposition. It may or may not be. Can you switch off your microphone, please?
Sorry.
The problem we've got, and a lot of people have clouded because of the McDonald's situation in Burgess Hill, this is not a drive-through. This is a takeaway. And if somebody was to open a takeaway in the middle of Burgess Hill, would we have the same conversation? Probably. And it's all down to environmental protection. If there's noise, if it's down to the police, people can go into the Shell garage, and I've had coffee from there, and I've had hot food from there. I can do that now without this.
Yes.
So, but I think we're talking about supposition a lot of what may or may not happen. If it transpires that it's a horrible and it works terribly bad, do you think the owners of Shell on that site will be very happy with that? No, of course they won't. And I agree with Councillor Casella about, petrol stations used to be just for petrol stations, but now to survive, they have to sell other stuff. And it's annoying, but it is what it is. Finally, Councillor Cherry, you've never spoken yet.
No. One thing that hasn't been mentioned is the odour control.
Environmental protection.
Environmental protection. Well, it says here, the submitted odour control scheme shall be in accordance with current best practice and shall include an odour risk assessment, etc. I was reminded of this problem actually last night, and I was going to Waitrose in Burgess Hill, and as you know, there's the KFC there, and there is a lot of smell coming from that establishment, and I'm wondering to myself, well, is KFC actually using the so-called best practice? Because it clearly is presenting a problem there. So what safeguards have the residents got who are uncomfortably close to this
I should imagine they'll pick up the phone, to be perfectly honest, because if you go to the high beaches, not the Beechhurst, when that first opened, my God, did that smell? That was really bad. So what did our environmental protection team went down there? They threatened to close it down until they up their stuff. And I think possibly a phone call from yourself to the environmental protection team might not be amiss.
Yeah.
If it does smell as bad as he said, because I have complained, and I've now, when I went past another establishment, it didn't smell so much. So I think they probably don't change the filters as often as they should do.
Yeah, so that really needs to be addressed, this
But that's
current
not this
best
site, though.
practice.
This site is, and that's where a lot of the issues lie. Everybody thinks this is going to be another McDonald's. It's not.
No,
It's not a McDonald's.
No.
This is not a drive-through, and we all know the problems that Burgess Hill suffers because of that.
yeah.
And it's horrendous
is.
any time of the day. But anyway, I think everyone's had a good chance of speaking. It is up for approval. Can I have a person to propose it? Councillor Sweatman, a seconder? I'll go for Councillor Costello. He very rarely puts his hand up. So it's green if you agree with it, and red if you don't, and yellow if you want to abstain. I've got 10, I've got 11 now. Okay. It's close. 6-4, 4 against and 1 abstention, so that has been approved. Thank you very much. Time will tell if we've made the right decision on that one. All right, item 9 on the agenda is questions pursuant to Council Procedure Rule 10.2. Due notice has been given. I have none, and I close the meeting at, I'm going by my watch, at 5:01. That's what it says on here. Can we all remain in situ until such time as we get told the live feed has been closed? Okay. But I will take on board what you said about the B&G training, because I really do think we ought to